In this lesson, we'll learn about naming angles, measuring and classifying angles, identifying congruent angles, and using the angle addition postulate along with bisecting angles. The protractor postulate allows us to figure out how to measure an angle. So the measure of an angle, written as M angle AOB, in this example is equal to the absolute value of the difference between the numbers matched with ray OA and ray OB on a protractor. Let's take a look at naming the parts and labeling the parts of an angle. We have the vertex of the angle, which is the point where the two rays meet. We have the sides of an angle. There are two sides, they're rays. Ray OB and ray OA are the sides. And then we have the angle itself, which we can name as angle AOB, BOA, or simply angle O. You can only use one letter to name the angle if it's a single angle, not more than one angle from a vertex. Write three names for the angle. Angle VUT, angle TUV, angle U. We can also call this angle 3 since it has a number attached. So there's actually four ways that we could name this. Types of angles. Acute angles are between 0 and 90 degrees, not including 90. Exactly 90 is a right angle. Between 90 and 180 is an obtuse angle. Exactly 180 is a straight angle. We find the measure of each angle and then classify the angle. Angle RQU, RQU. The measure of angle RQU, if we look at the blue, we're measuring along the bottom numbers, and so on mine it'll be 125 degrees, which makes it obtuse. Angle TQU, TQU, its measure we go from 90 up to 125 degrees. So we have a total of 35 degrees, which makes it acute. And then angle UQS, UQS. So remember that this one was at 125 degree angle. This other one is at a measure of 35 degrees. So 125 minus 35 gives us 90 degrees. If it's exactly 90 degrees for its measure, then it is a right angle. Identify the congruent angles in the roof frame. The measure of angle EDG is 40. What is the measure of angle EFG? So congruent angles are angle DEG, congruent to angle FEG, angle GDE is congruent to angle GFE, and then angle EGD is congruent to angle EGF. If the measure of angle EDG is 40 degrees, what is the measure of angle EFG? EFG is congruent, so it'll be 40 degrees. Identify the congruent angles labeled in the quilt design. If the measure of angle ADC is 140, what is the measure of EFG? And without measuring, are the angles congruent from the example? Explain your reasoning. Use a protractor if we need to verify our answer. So congruent angles are the angles that are marked congruent in the drawing. So that will be our angle G and angle B are marked congruent, and then angle D would be congruent to angle F. If angle ADC is 140, what is the measure of angle EFG? EFG is the same measure, so 140 degrees. They're congruent. Angle DAB, that's this angle here, is congruent to FEH. That's the angle here. If you look, the angle A is in between the other two angles. Angle E is not, so we can't necessarily verify at this point without having actual measurements if they're congruent. The angle addition postulate tells us that two angles added together equal the entire larger angle. So in our example, angle RSP plus the measure of PST equals the measure of RST. Here's an example to follow. Given that angle PQR equals 102 degrees, find the measure of angle SQR and the measure of angle PQS. PQR is 102 degrees. That's the entire larger angle. We know that the two angles added together, which are 9x plus 11 plus the 7x minus 5 angle, have to equal a total of 102 degrees. We'll do the algebra. 9x plus 7x equals 16x. 11 minus 5 is 6, equals 102. Add 6 to both sides. 16x equals 108. Divide by 16. So 108 divided into 16 will give us our answer. Mistake. Alright, let's fix first. This should be a negative 6. Subtract 6, which is 16x equals 96 divided by 16. So x would equal 6. We'll plug it back in to get the measure of our angles. 9 times 6 plus 11 is 54 plus 11, which is 65 degrees. And then 7 times 6 minus 5 is 42 minus 5, which equals 37 degrees. The total is 102, and it checks. Our final example, we have angle AVC. We'll draw a picture first. VB is going to bisect it, so we'll bisect it with VB. Measure of angle AVC is 158. Find the measure of angle BVC. Since it's bisected, we know that it's divided into 2 equal parts. We'll take and divide 158 into 2 equal parts, which is going to give us 79 for each angle, so our answer is 79 degrees. And that's all for our lesson for today.